In 1992, four farmers drained a pond that vanished into solid rock. They found 24 carved caverns nobody remembers building. Every record of the diggers had been erased. This is the Longyou caves in eastern China. And after 30 years, no one can say who carved them. For centuries, villagers called these ponds bottomless. Swimmers who dived too deep drowned and never returned. So the water was feared, and divers who tried it died. In 1992, four farmers bet the ponds were man-made. They rented diesel pumps and began draining the dark. They pumped for 17 days without stopping. Slowly, a drowned world of carved stone rose up. First a ceiling, then a wall, then a staircase. By day 17, an entire cathedral-sized chamber stood empty. It was the first of 24 enormous hidden caves, each one chiseled by hand out of living rock. And here is the first thing that should be impossible. Some caves plunge more than 30 meters straight down. Their ceilings rise higher than a 5-story building. To carve them, someone removed 1,000,000 cubic meters of rock. That much rock would fill 600 swimming pools. Thousands of workers would dig for years, and many died. Some collapsed, buried alive under the rock they cut. And yet here is the detail that makes no sense. Not 1 gram of that 24-cave dig was found nearby. 1,000,000 cubic meters was hauled off and vanished. Where it went, in 30 years, nobody has explained. And that is only the start of the dark problem. Every surface of all 24 caves carries the same marks. Thin, parallel grooves cut at the same width and angle. They cover walls, ceilings, and every one of the pillars. No tool that could cut them was ever found. Grooving one dark wall alone could cost a man his life. Across these halls, it would bury an army of workers. So who organized this, and why were they all erased? The rock itself deepens the riddle, cold and wet. These 24 caves were cut into soft, crumbling siltstone. It carves easily, but it cracks, floods, and collapses. Left alone, such caves should have collapsed fast. Within a few generations, they should have collapsed and buried everyone. Instead, the builders carved pillars that held the roof. They added angled braces no one taught them to make. Those supports have stood for 2,000 years. These builders understood engineering 2,000 years too early. And then they vanished, with no name left behind. Now the detail that haunts the people who study Longyou. A dig this huge should appear in some record. Tax rolls, war chronicles, poems, an emperor's order, anything. China wrote down its history for over 2,000 years. Scribes logged smaller works in obsessive detail. They logged grain, bricks, drowned men, fallen walls. Yet all 24 Longyou caves appear absolutely nowhere. One of the largest digs on Earth, and total silence. It is as if the diggers were deliberately erased, their names killed off, their work struck from memory. Why would anyone hide a labor this enormous? Every theory we test simply dies on the wall. Theory 1. The 24 caves were stone quarries, dug just to harvest rock for building somewhere else. But no lost city built from that stone was ever found. And no quarry bothers carving smooth, ornamental walls. So that theory cracks and dies in the dark. Theory 2. Secret barracks for a hidden army. An emperor concealing soldiers before a surprise war. But there are no fire pits, no kitchens, no wells, no bones of soldiers, no rusted blades, nothing. Nobody ever lived or died inside these dark halls. So the army theory dies too. Theory 3. Vast tombs for a forgotten king, carved to bury a ruler whose dynasty vanished. But no body, no coffin, no buried king exists. In all 24 caves, not one grave was found. So even the dead refuse to explain these caves. And here is the strangest design choice of all. The 24 caves sit pressed side by side, but thin stone walls divide every single one. They could have joined all 24 into one giant hall. Instead, they kept each cave sealed apart in the dark. That choice cost millions of extra cubic feet of rock. Whatever they were for, Separation mattered more than ease. Modern engineers scanned all 24 caves with lasers. They still cannot reverse engineer the plan. The chisel marks may even shape how sound moves, whisper in one chamber, and the dark walls carry it. If true, the builders were artists, not just diggers. They tuned the solid rock like a vast instrument. So picture what these vanished people pulled off. An army carving in the dark for years on end. Many collapsed and died where they worked, removing 1,000,000 cubic meters of rock by hand, carving flawless parallel grooves across every dark wall, cutting pillars that would outlast 40 dynasties, and then erasing themselves so completely no name survives. Today, you can walk into the Longyou caves yourself. You stand under ceilings that swallowed their makers. You run your hand along grooves cut 2,000 years ago, grooves cut by people who died without a trace. You feel the cold, dark air they once breathed, and you feel how easily a whole world is lost. Because the Longyou caves teach one terrifying lesson. A civilization can move mountains and still vanish. They can carve for years, then die and vanish without a word. History is not all that happened in the dark. It is only the tiny part someone wrote down. Everything else drowns in the dark, like these caves. And these 24 caves have not finished killing. In 1992, the farmers drained 4 ponds in this valley. But this valley holds many more dark, bottomless ponds. Locals believe more caves wait drowned beneath them. Each dark pond may hide another drowned carved world. Nobody has drained them because draining them killed men. One slip in that black dark water, and you drown. So the rest stay sealed, guarding what we cannot know. Think about the scale still buried in the dark. An entire chapter of human effort lost on purpose, built by hands we cannot name in the cold dark. Some say only an ancient state could have managed it. A power strong enough to command thousands to dig, and strong enough to make all of them vanish. Others believe a secret order carved them in silence, sworn never to speak, on pain of death. If they spoke, they were killed and buried inside. Maybe that silence is exactly why no record survives. A secret kept so well it outlived every keeper. It outlived the dark empire that may have ordered it. The carving stayed perfect while everyone above died. That is the eerie heart of the Longyou mystery. The more we measure these 24 caves, the less we know. Every answer we test simply dies on the dark wall. Quarry, barracks, tomb, temple, all of them fail, and the true purpose stays drowned in the dark. So we stand where the 4 farmers stood in 1992, looking into a hole 2,000 years deep, knowing only that people died to dig it, and that someone made very sure we would forget. Run your hand over the cold grooves and you feel it. A message with no words, from people with no names. They wanted the caves seen, and themselves unseen. On both counts, the dead got their wish. You can stand inside their work and still know nothing, which is, perhaps, exactly what they intended. So the next time you hear a pond has no bottom, remember the 4 farmers in 1992 who tested it. They pumped for 17 days and woke a sleeping mystery. They found 24 caves nobody alive remembers building, carved by hands that vanished without a single record. In 1992, 4 farmers drained a pond and woke the question.